The universe of Orolone had always been a place of noise. Her parents, sworn to the path of the melodic cage, spent their days and nights training brightly plumed creatures until their very breath became instruments of living art. Her sister, when she deigned to return from corsair raids, carried her spoils in a storm of clinking jewels and chattering trinkets. Even her brother, lost forever upon the path of the seer, had become incapable of silence, forever spilling the 1,001 futures from his lips in an endless tide. But the noise was never unpleasant. On the contrary, it was proof that life still writhed and persisted in a void otherwise cold and dead. That was why Orolone had first been drawn to other, equally clamorous paths. She had walked the way of the plasmic subjugator, whose arcane mastery bent the world ship's colossal energy tides to its will. She had trod the way of the herald, whose shrieking hymns split the air before the rites of war. Never had she thought of the warrior path as noisy. Eldar arsenals did not roar, they whispered. They killed with elegance, not with volume, save for one or two tools whose voices were truly obscene. That changed the day war came to her craft world. It came in the form of giants, misshapen, grotesquely over-muscled, their ape-like features reshaped by some blasphemous energy into a parodic, angular beauty. Orolone remembers little of that day save for one thing. Not the garish pink of their armor, nor the most obscene of their blasphemous sigils. No, what still claws at her soul even now is the sound that tore from their mouths and their weapons, an apocalypse in audio, a cacophony that devoured all else. That day, she sealed her mind, terrified that another might glimpse the truth, how utterly she had savored the near annihilation brought by that ravenous noise. The morning after the victory, her sickness had already spoken to her. Only the howling banshee could bring her close again to such a death hymn. Among her sisters and the rare brothers who shared the shrine, Orolone never made friends. They could all sense the flaw in her. Behind her war mask was a jaw locked too tightly. Over the psychic channels, her voice came through overdriven, distorted. She nursed a morbid fascination with biomancy, and the means by which she might make even her unhelmed voice a weapon of pure terror. 6 decades and 6 years later, it happened. An exodite world lay under assault by the same warp-touched giants of She Who Thirsts. In the chaos, one of the brutes had snared the autarch in his whip and was already tearing at his throat with laughing fangs. Orolone threw herself upon the creature, abandoning all discipline, pressing her brow to his in a grotesque embrace. They screamed at each other, locked together, oblivious to the dead piling around them. Of the two monsters, it was the giant who fell first, his skull collapsing under the pressure of her scream. But her war mask was in ruin. Blood blinded her eyes. Deafened, she crawled across the battlefield, searching. Her hands found the barbarian's discarded helm. Before her exarch and the few surviving sisters could reach her, Orolone forced it onto her head and screamed again. They say that 5 more giants died to that scream, along with an unfortunate seer who tried to calm her, and 2 of her own sisters. Only when her shrinekin dragged her down and beat her with the butts of their blades did her body fall still. The echoes of her new voice still rang inside her skull despite her ruined ears. And for all the worlds in the galaxy, she would not have wished for silence. Even after the helm was torn from her and the wounds closed aboard the craft world, she could no longer speak at any volume short of obliteration. The decision was inevitable. A soul as tainted as hers could never join the infinity circuit. But a weapon so lethal could not be discarded. Her body was unmade. Her spirit was bound, fed into the core of a new weapon, chained forever to the will of the banshees.